ये तो बहुत
खूबसूरत है ना, लेकिन हमारी दोस्ती से ज्यादा नहीं, जिनके लिए रिश्ते ज्यादा कीमती होते हैं। जॉय आलूकास, वर्ल्ड्स फेवरेट jeweler.
Build your brand globally. Make your venture a success. Unique Times, Premium Business Lifestyle Magazine.
I would love to welcome you all with pleasure, mixed with pride and delight, to this very edition of the Unique Times Business Summit. Let me ask you something. Why have Team Pegasus curated such a platform? Any idea? It is actually to foster economic and social advancement, number one, to promote innovation and entrepreneurship, number two, and definitely to build a more prosperous and sustainable society. Actually, this is a platform where experts can meet and discuss relevant topics that would probably ignite a change which would eventually lead to the betterment of our state and its citizens, of course. Now, how do we intend to do it? I can tell you that as well. The answer is very, very simple. We learn from the best. As always, Team Pegasus is bringing some of the most prominent businessmen, experts, entrepreneurs, and investors. We are creating a platform where all of them can get together, meet and greet and share their knowledge and discuss and come up with innovative ideas, and from where they can lead from the forefront. So this is definitely a one-of-a-kind platform, I should say, where today, again, we are going to discuss a very, very relevant topic. It is all about how to empower our state, Kerala. So Team Pegasus believes that we have the power to shape our future, and we believe that it is our responsibility to take the first step towards a better tomorrow. With all your permission, I would love to set the stage for this very edition of the Unique Times Business Summit. We tend to do all these activities under the leadership of somebody I personally admire a lot. He is none other than the visionary founder and chairman of Pegasus Global Private Limited, our very dear Dr. Ajitravipegasus. He is here to give the opening remarks and, of course, to welcome you all officially to this fantastic day. Dr. Ajitravipegasus for all of you.
Namaskaram. It's our second business summit, and this time we have kept the topic empowering Kerala. I just want to tell you it's all because of mpjoseph sir. We have started the business summits like this because without his support we were not able to do things like this. And when Pegasus starts something, we ensure that we are doing it regularly, and we try to do it different than others. I just want to tell one thing to everyone, because Pegasus had grown into this level only because of one person, that is VP Nandakumar sir. Welcome VP Nandakumar sir. And even Dr. Sumita is there. Welcome her. And Beena ma'am, she came for our event. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am. മാഡത്തിന് ട്രിവാൻഡ്രത്ത് എന്തോ ഒരു ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അതും ഡ്രോപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഈ ഫംഗ്ഷന് വന്നത്. ബിക്കോസ് ഷീ വാസ് ദി ഓൺലി ലേഡി representing here for the business summit. Sherry is here. I welcome him. Sherry is a good friend of mine. I don't want to prolong so that we will be starting the program right now. Thank you so much.
To set the stage for the Unique Times Business Summit officially, and as a part of the summit, we shall begin with a panel discussion, and the topic being discussed is definitely how to empower our state, Kerala. So being a panel discussion, we definitely need a moderator, right? So we have chosen the best one we could bring to the table, as this individual brings a wealth of experience, I should say. His expertise and knowledge definitely makes him a perfect fit to moderate this event. It is my pleasure to announce the name of our moderator for the group discussion. He's had a noteworthy career in public service. He adorned positions such as sub-collector and district collector. He served as the mayor of the Corporation of Kochi and holds the record for the longest tenure as Kerala's Labour Commissioner. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed moderator, Mr. mpjoseph IAS, to the stage. Welcome, sir. He'll definitely speak to all of you before we get into the panel discussion. Please, sir.
My colleague in the civil service and from the Kerala cadre, Dr. Mrs. Beena Vijay of the Indian Administrative Service. She is also the chairperson of the Cochin Port Trust. Dr. V.P. Nandakumar, whom I think it would be completely wrong for me to introduce here. He is so well known. Chairperson of the Manappuram Finance Limited. My another colleague in the Kerala administration, Mr. Loknathbehra, who was, I think, the longest serving DGP in the state, and today is the managing director of the Cochin Metro, which is, I suppose, a game changer as far as infrastructure development in the state is concerned. Another very young colleague of mine, Mr. Suhas, who was district collector at Ernakulam some time ago, and then he became the MD of the Cochin International Airports Limited, the first airport in the country to be built on a private-public partnership. Sherryoommen, the young advocate, thinker, chartered accountant, leader, I think he's sitting there at the back. And of course, how can I miss Ajit, who is the brain behind all this, the one who has shaped this conclave. He held the first one about 3 or 4 months ago. We spoke on, the discussion was on corporate social responsibility. Sri Ajit Ravi, and then I see a wonderful group of people in front of me, youngsters from all across the country, much more, audience here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to be part of a conclave that Ajit Ravi organizes. He does it impeccably. And I remember the last one, which was held extremely well. And this is the second one, I believe, that he's holding. This is a conclave that is being organized by Unique Times, which I think many of you know about. It's a pleasure to be here. The topic we are discussing today, and we've got a very good panel, is on empowering Kerala. Now, when you hear that, it might sound very a difficult subject to address, but obviously our discussions will break it down into simpler terms, which you and I can understand and respond to. Speaking about Kerala, and empowering Kerala especially, I think you'll agree with me that Kerala is some sort of an enigma, a contradiction. On the one hand, it is some of the best social and health and other indicators that we have in the country, perhaps on a par with Eastern Europe. I will take some 10 or 11 examples, which all of you know. I'm just putting it in perspective here. We have in Kerala the highest literacy of any state in the country, 96 or 97, almost touching 100. The highest standards in healthcare, some of the best hospitals across the state, both in the public sector and in the private sector. A great longevity of its people, people who live much longer than people live in the rest of the country. A high degree of hygiene. I don't think, of course, Indore has the reputation of being the cleanest city, but I'm sure Kerala is the cleanest state in the country. We are both very careful about our personal hygiene and about public hygiene. Though public hygiene not so much, but still it's something that we can certainly be proud of. We have a very important and growing tertiary sector in the economy. The service sector is growing. Agriculture has been a strong base, but then I think over the last 10, 20, 30 years, the tertiary sector, the service sector has been growing tremendously. We have an extremely good organized workforce. We have very high standards of living across India. And I'm not speaking of the city alone, I'm speaking of a whole state. A state that has some of the highest human resources in the country, and a very strong and growing middle class with high personal incomes that's very obvious if you travel across the state. A very good police force, one of the best in the country. He was the DGP of the state for perhaps the longest time, 5 years, isn't it, or more? So we have an extremely good police force. And of course, a green state. Many shades of green. The green of paddy, the green of coconuts, the green of our mountains, the green of Munnar, the green of cardamom, the green of rubber. It's tremendous, a dozen shades of green. So it's a very green country with a tremendous tourism potential. But unfortunately, it's got a flip side too. And that flip side is what I think we should be focusing on. Our high literacy, which I spoke about, comes with very poor education standards. Literacy is one thing. Knowing to write your signature or sign your name is one thing, but education standards are growing across the world and across the country, and unfortunately, Kerala is unable to keep up. Many of our young people are leaving for third-rate universities in UK and other countries, unfortunately. We have very high rates of healthcare, very good healthcare with hospitals, extremely good hospitals. But then the rates of cancer, the rate of heart ailments, the rate of diabetes and other lifestyle diseases is extremely high. And so we saw in times of COVID, we had a very high COVID rate. The longevity of the people, which I think we are proud of, comes with a host of problems for elderly people. Old age homes, which we never heard of 10 years ago. It would have been scandalous to speak of old age homes 10 years ago. It's become the norm now. Old persons are thrown into old age homes with a yearly visit from Canada or UK or US or wherever, or even right from Kochi itself. There's a lot of emphasis on hygiene, I said, personal and public. But that comes with extremely poor waste management. Waste collection, we saw what happened in Brahmapuram a few weeks ago. The service sector is extremely good. We have a growing service sector, but the foundation of any economy is manufacturing. China grew because of its manufacturing foundations. Unfortunately, we have no manufacturing to speak of. We are abhorrent to manufacturing sector. We don't see them come up. That doesn't seem to be in our blood. I said we have an organized workforce, which is extremely good. But we also have a workforce that does not permit employers to employ people they want. So the people with the skills, they don't let employers unload their articles for them. I don't have to explain to you about Attimari and Nokukuli and various other aberrations that we have. We have a very high standard of living, but that is based critically upon remittances from our people abroad, which can be a very dangerous one to base our economy on. We saw what happened in Sri Lanka when COVID came and the tourism sector collapsed, the remittances collapsed. That should not happen to Kerala. We can have another COVID or another outbreak. We have tremendous human resources, as I indicated, but that resource is mostly unavailable to the state. They all go away. They work abroad. The Gulf, Canada, the US, Germany, Europe, Singapore, Malaysia are full of our people making money. They leave us. We are a well-off state. We don't see many poor here. Hardly see, extreme poverty that you see in other parts of the world. That's one side. But the other flip side is that we have a state government which is extremely poor. It has no money to give salaries to its staff, and its finances are falling off the grid. We have a green and clean country, but then we are not many shades of green, a dozen shades of green, 10 shades of green, I said. But unfortunately, we are not able to get tourism off the way we would like it to. I was in Central America in October, November. I visited about 10 countries in one of the longest trips of my life. I spoke about Kerala, and most people have never heard about it. They've heard of India, they've heard about the Taj Mahal, about Agra, about Jaipur, but not about Kerala. So we are not as well known as we think we are, especially in those parts of the world. We have a very good police force, of course, but the crime rate, unfortunately, is increasing. There have been rising traffic accidents. People die almost every day on the roads. Rising drug abuse, rising sexual abuse of children, rising abuse of women. So the list can go on. I'm not really. So therefore, Kerala is an enigma. We have all that takes to make this a very empowered state, but something is missing. The situation is, I would say, amusing. If I were to put it more amusingly, it's like you have all the ingredients here to make an extremely good and tasty meal, to make this what we call it, the God's own country, but somewhere something is missing. The ingredients are there, but we don't know how to use it in the right proportions. We don't have a cook, or we don't have a recipe to put it all together. It's like a bad cook trying to cook up a meal because the ingredients are there, but the meal is not come out well. And that is where I believe a conclave like this, empowering Kerala, with some of the best people, panelists we can think of, coming in here and sharing their ideas, their thoughts with you all, that is so important. Empowering Kerala is a conclave that seeks, I understand, to find solutions, to find ideas on how to use these valuable resources that we have, the positives that we have to bring up our state, to empower our state, to make it one of the best in the country and maybe across the world. To me, there are two elements in empowering Kerala. One are the ideas that are required. The other is the implementation of it. Now, we are today focusing on the first part. What are the ideas that are required to change the state into something more than what it is? To use all that ingredients that we have before us to make it the place that we want it all to be truly God's own country. We have an excellent panel here. They have been introduced already, but then I think I would be amiss if I don't speak a word about them. We have, as I said, Dr. Ms. Beena Meridien. She is chairperson of the Kochi Port Trust. She's got a wide range of experience on many matters. She was district collector of Ernakulam, and I don't know how many of you know, the mobility hub at Vaitala is her brainchild, her thought, and she's the one who implemented it. It changed the face of the city. Vaitala has become one of the most important hubs, the most important hub in the state. Then we have, of course, VP Nandakumar. I think I'll be amiss if I try to introduce him to you. He's got a name across the state, across India, across the country. But what really fascinates me about him is his maturity in thought and in word, his humility. And most of all, he's got a thinking mind. He thinks through ideas. He thinks through problems and finds solutions. A mind that not only thinks about taking his own business forward, but thinks about how to take society forward. The cultural issues, etc., is something that Dr. Nandakumar thinks on, and I think he would be a great, important part of this panel. Loknathbehra from the Indian Police Service, the longest-serving DGP, as I mentioned. He made a mark also as the Commissioner of Police, Cochin City, many years ago. And today he is the MD of Metro, which has changed the map of the state. We have Suhas. Young Suhas was district collector here, and he is now the MD of the Sial. He has given a fillip to the state by opening up the Cochin airport to private jets. And we have, of course, Sherryoommen, who is an advocate, a chartered accountant, a writer, and a leader. He worked in Ernst & Young. He worked in KPMG, and today he is on his own. He's got an additional qualification as well. He is my nephew in law. It's good to have a panel like this here. I'm sure that they will enable us to think these issues through. And most importantly, we have the cream of Kerala and India out here. I think as much as the panel would be able to contribute to thinking about empowering Kerala, you would be able to do it much as well. So we have a question and answer session, not even a question and answer session, an idea generation session where you can put in your ideas on empowering Kerala. I will not, I think I've taken more time than Mr. Ajitravipegasus allotted to me. The first part of empowering Kerala, which is thinking of ideas and generating ideas, is what we are doing today. The second part is the implementation that is not on us. But as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. The proof of good ideas is how good, how well, and how easily they can be implemented. So I'm looking forward to this discussion today. I'm sure you're looking forward to it as much as I do. I think we will leave this conclave this morning with a better understanding of what it takes to empower Kerala, solutions that will get us going. So it's a pleasure again to be here. Thank you, Ravi, for inviting, Ajit Ravi, for inviting me. Thank you for all of you for being here. I look forward personally to getting enriched by the ideas of our panelists. Thank you very much, and a very good day to you. Thank you so much. Good day.
Well, thank you so very much, sir, for your wise words of wisdom. I can't wait to actually listen to this fantastic panel discussion that is ahead of us. So, I would definitely love to invite back on stage our moderator. He is none other than Mr. mpjoseph IAS. Can we have you back on stage, sir? Now, as the discussion is about to begin, let me invite Mr. VP Nandakumar, the Managing Director and CEO of Manappuram Finance Limited, to the stage. If I could invite Dr. M. Beena IAS, the Chairperson of Kochi Port Trust. Mr. Loknathbehra IPS, the Managing Director of Kochi Metro. Mr. Suhas IAS, the Managing Director of CR. I think he is on his way. He should join us soon. And of course, Advocate Sherryoommen, the founder of Nash Capital Partners, to this panel discussion. Let's hear it from the experts, ladies and gentlemen, how to empower our state, Kerala. Let us open our minds and hearts to the possibilities that lie ahead of us. Wish you all a very fruitful session. Over to the moderator, please.
Thank you very much once again. Thank you for listening to me patiently. I think I'll move on to the panel discussions. Immediately we have, I'll start with Dr. Beena Meridien. As I indicated to you, she was District Collector of Ernakulam. She's now the chairperson of the Cochin Port Trust. So I'll begin this discussion by asking her about infrastructure development in the state. What are the infrastructure gaps that we have? I think we have a great deal of infrastructure gaps. How do we attract foreign direct investments to the state? Especially, I would like her to focus also on road transport infrastructure. We have, unfortunately, some of the worst roads in the country, mainly because our land values are very high. We have this thing against broad roads. There were agitations against building a national highway in the state on the same on the same breadth as in other parts of the country. But I think we have got over them. So how do we build up good road infrastructure in the state is something I would like her to address. And finally, she's chairman of the Cochin Port Trust. How do we convert the Cochin Port into a hub? She was responsible for the Waitla Mobility Hub. I think I'll ask her how she could convert the Cochin Port into another form of mobility, a sea mobility hub with marine traffic coming in from the Gulf, coming in from Europe, on its way to Malaysia, Singapore, and the East, treating this as a hub. These are some of the questions I think I would like to put to her. She's, of course, I would also ask her to add anything that she would like to add to what I have indicated. Can I start with you, Dr. Beena?
Good morning to all of you, esteemed mpjoseph sir, Behra sir, Shri Nandakumar, Sherry, distinguished members of the audience and dear friends. Sir has given me quite a tall order because the importance of infrastructure, no matter how many times we affirm it, the bottom line for any country's or state's development is infrastructure. The importance of infrastructure actually evinces from the fact that it has got a multiplier effect. See, if you put 100 rupees into a certain sector, you will get 100 rupees back. But in case of infrastructure, you put 100 rupees into infrastructure, the yield is 250 rupees. So there is a multiplying factor of 2.5. So very rightly, Sir has identified infrastructure as one of the key drivers of the state. Now, Sir has asked me to cover both road transport and the port sector, both of which are, I will say, topics for one entire discussion on their own. Coming to road infrastructure, I don't know how many of you know, we all complain about our roads. We say that roads are not wide enough, roads are not good enough. In terms of road network, length of roads per square kilometer, Kerala is the best in the country. Means in terms of road length by square kilometer, in terms of road density, Kerala is the best in India. So basically what we have done is that we have taken roads to the farthermost village of Kerala. So we have sort of, dispersed our capital in such a way that no ward, no panchayat does not have a road. So if you look at, Adivasi colonies, everywhere there is a road access. So we have, scattered or dispersed the road network in the country. But having said that, for 2 points which are connected by just which are just 250 kilometer away. The typical example being Trivandrum Cochin. I'm sure all of us have traveled Trivandrum Cochin at some point or the other. To spend 6 hours on the road to commute between 2 points which are just 250 kilometer apart, that is unheard of in any other state in India. So definitely, while we can pat ourselves on the back that we have taken road network to every village, every panchayat, there is a lot to be done in terms of providing world-class infrastructure, city-specific infrastructure. And roads are not just about, commutation. Sir mentioned tourism. Tourism is one of the key drivers of Kerala's economy, contributes 10% of Kerala's GDP. Very often, from the tourism sector, we hear that, look, with your kind of commute distances, we find it very difficult from traveling from Trivandrum to Cochin, from Calicut to Wayanad. So even to connect tourism important places, we need wider roads. Another challenge here is that the road growth is around, less than 5%, whereas the vehicle growth, sir will agree with me there, it is more than 10%. If you look at, number of vehicles per family, we are one of the highest in India. So there is a disproportion between the two. So definitely we need more investment in roads, we need widening of roads, and we need, it has to come as as a society, we have to take some hard choices. You can't make an omelette without breaking open the shells. So very often when you think of a road which is used by lakhs of people, the objection to widening will come from small strips of people on both sides. So for that, maybe 100 or 500 people living on the sides of the road, we are putting an impediment to lakhs of commuters. So sir, I will sum up on the road front by saying that we need to invest on wider roads, taking into account our requirement both from the tourism point of view and the commute point of view, and make some hard decisions. And of course we can give better rates for land acquisition and all that, but it has to be on the topmost agenda when it comes to Kerala's empowerment. Now moving on to the port sector, India has a very long coastline of around 7,500 kilometers. There are 12 major ports and 200 minor ports. Now Cochin is one of the oldest ports in India. Actually, it came into being in the year 1341, where interestingly, I'm sure you must all have heard of the Muziris port. Now, Muziris port was the port of Kerala before 1341. Now in 1341, there was a deluge and the entire Muziris port got silted up and Cochin opened up. So it is actually a natural port. Now over the years, a lot of developments have taken place, but the port as you see today, the modern port was constructed in the 1920s by British harbour engineer Sir Robert Bristow. In the 1950s, it came under the Indian Major Ports Act, and recently we have changed our designation to a Major Ports Authority. Now, Cochin actually caters to most of Kerala. A little bit from the southern tip will be going into Tuticorin. In terms of the carrying capacity, Cochin is doing fairly okay, because Cochin's cargo is 65%, it is oil related, because we have one of India's biggest refiner in Cochin, the BPCL. So the entry of crude and the exit of POL happens through Cochin port. But as sir has said, the gap here is that we are not able to compete with internationally acclaimed ports. India's transshipment cargo, for a wide majority, now goes to Colombo. Now, why we are not able to bring it to Cochin? Because of infrastructural issues. Now, while we have a draft of 14.5, every year the size of vessels is increasing. Now, The Meridien port is likely to bring a lot of potential in the sense it is a deeper drafted port. So together, and also Cochin, we are looking at a deepening to 16 meter. So together, I think we will be in a position to take out some of the transshipment cargo from Colombo. Infrastructural gap as far as Cochin port is concerned is the draft, which in terms of berth, in terms of area, we are actually quite, reasonably well placed. It is in terms of the entry of deeper drafted vessels that we have an issue, and Government of India has already given us an in-principle approval for deepening of the draft to 16 meter. So hopefully in the coming year, we will be working upon that. Just conclude and later participate in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. A round of applause would do good. Can't hear it really, but thank you so much. I think you have captured the essence of the issues of infrastructure development, road transport and shipping very well in a few minutes. Thank you so much. As you said, this calls for a very long discussion. I would have a question, not now, perhaps you can answer it later. How would, both are very important for the state, but how would the Meridien port impact the Cochin port in the future is a question that has that I'll flag for you. You can answer it later. At the moment, I'll move on to Dr. Nandakumar. Dr. Nandakumar has brought up Manappuram finance from scratch himself. So he knows all about entrepreneurship. And Kerala, what Kerala used to lack was enterprising young men. But today I think we have a surfeit of young entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, they don't quite find the right climate here. I believe most of them do very well in the Gulf and in other countries. So my question to you, or the issue I'll put for you before you, Dr. Nandakumar, is how do you develop entrepreneurship in the state amongst our young people? They're bursting with ideas, our young people today. They've seen the world. The world is at their fingertips. But there's a shortage of angel investors in the state. There are no equivalent of shark tanks here. MSME numbers are very high, but I believe those numbers are not quite correct. So how do we develop that is the question I'll put to you. And a corollary with that comes is the issue of skills development. How do we look at skills development to open up job opportunities and for enterprises? Technology, how do you use technology for job creation? And how will that happen in the next 10, 20 years? Do we have a list of the sunrise skills that are required in the next 10, 15, 20 years in the state? If not, should we not have it? How do we set up skilling centers in the state? So these are very important questions, issues I'll ask you to address. I'll ask you to address one more issue, the question of manufacturing, which I touched upon when I spoke first. Unfortunately, manufacturing is ignored in the state. There are lots of issues of whether you can employ somebody, whether you can, if you find him unfit, whether it's possible to throw him out. So these are issues that we hear about paying for somebody looking at someone else unloading their equipment or their thing. Nokukuli, as we call it in the state, for the benefit of our audience from outside the state. Nokukuli literally translates to you pay me for looking at somebody else doing his job. So how do we address all that? These are questions I would put to you, Dr. Nandakumar, and anything else you might like to add to it.
What I heard from you are delivering very excellent speech. The enigma about Kerala. So now what I feel is that the enigma, we are finding an answer by ourselves. About enterprising nature of Kerala, people are generally very enterprising. What we used to say, beyond the borders of Kerala, we are very productive, we are very honest, very hardworking, etc. I have the experience of employing around 45,000 people across India. But what I find is the quality of people appears to be better if we employ from Kerala. So Kerala has many advantages. The demography and the demographic dividend we have, it's great. People give importance to education. The thing is, there are, in spite of all the facilities what we have, our people are migrating to other, not only to other states. You have been telling about UK, right? Yes, it is absolutely right. But you see the Eastern Europe and other countries for medical education. We have heard the Prime Minister saying, yes, by investing so much our people are migrating to countries for an education, for a professional education, where the quality is much lower. Why can't we provide that? What is needed here is the education suited for the century, suited for the new era. What is lacking here? So many universities have old syllabus, etc., etc. The freedom to frame the syllabus is not there for many universities. I am associated with IIM Kozhikode, where we have the complete freedom to design the syllabus to ensure that these are suited for the new era, etc., etc. I am coming to your question about how we incubate the enterprises here. Here, we have a number of startups here. And many institutes started incubating that. IIM Kozhikode is incubating these startups. We have a fund there, angel fund there. So recently, the day before yesterday, I have received a letter from one of the colleges in Kerala, Christ College, Irinjalakuda, where they wanted to incubate the startups. So these are some of the initiatives our colleges have already started. These initiatives, etc. And the technology, not only we are literate to the extent of 97% or even higher, but also the illiteracy is also very high. So the people are using that. So the attitude of the people are changing. The attitude was the problem. We have the natural resources in abundance. We have a large coastline. We have the great opportunity for developing water transportation, etc., etc. If you look at the Kanoli Canal, if that has been properly dug out and maintained, and the roads are created on both the sides, that itself can create opportunity for lakhs of people in tourism. Another thing where we can have good opportunity is in the technology. We are the first in bringing technology to our capital through the IT park, etc. But where do we stand now compared to Bangalore and other places? So we start many things. So the problem is again the mindset. The thing is changing now. What we see is there is a drastic improvement in the mindset of the people. If we look at for the last 20 years to now, every year there is a change, and also the newer technology, etc., will definitely change the environment here. Many startups will come. Many unicorns have come from India. We couldn't find even a single unicorn so far from Kerala. So all these are possibilities. What I feel is, for many of these things, there will be a positive answer during the next 10 years. So many initiatives are there, many good initiatives are there. So about the road infrastructure, Dr. Bina has rightly mentioned that. One statement the Union Minister for Transportation, Gadkari, has made on the other day, I have gone through. What he has said is about, what he has recalled is about an American president, former president, when he said, America, there is excellent infrastructure. And it is not because America is the number one in the world and it has infrastructure. Today, America has become the number one only because of the infrastructure development. Our country has taken the right steps. This year, the budgetary provision is around 10 lakh crores. Last year itself, 7 lakh crores is fully utilized for the first time. These are very good things. As Dr. Bina mentioned, we have the largest number of roads, etc., etc. And but the density of population and density of vehicles, if you take, I have some doubts about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nandakumar. Yeah, a round of applause, please. I'll take a few questions to Dr. Beena and Dr. Nandakumar at this stage. So if you would like to put any questions to Dr. Beena and Dr. Nandakumar at this stage, that would be very good.
Hey everyone, I'm Aravind, the architect actually. My question is to Dr. Nandakumar sir. On the topic of empowering Kerala, sir just mentioned you have employed more than 45,000 people. So when you started Manappuram, what was your burning desire or the thought you want to do and how you had the vision for the company? And one more thing is, after a point, there would be a saturation because the balance sheet, everything would have met. But what kept you growing, and then what was your core vision? So which can inspire thousands of people and start good organization companies like Manappuram. Thank you.
Yes. What were you like an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur?
So I started Manappuram with a capital of 5 lakhs with just 2 employees way back in 1992. When I started the company, I had the intention to list the company, top stock exchange of the country immediately. But because of the regulation, there needed 3 years balance sheet, profitable balance sheet. But I have made it. I could make it, and but got listed in Bombay Stock Exchange way back in 1995. And I am very happy to tell you, the 10 rupees invested in the company shares way back in 1995. Today is 6,000 rupees. 600 times it has grown. Yeah. And what keeps growing is we need to continuously innovate. We need to diversify. Even though we have started as a gold loan company, now we also own the second largest microfinance company in the country called Ashirwad Microfinance. And also we have diversified into other areas like home finance, affordable housing finance, vehicle finance, and a lot of other finances, including digital personal loan segments. So the motivation is to, one is, yes, the stakeholders should be rightly rewarded. And innovations in any area is a must. Technology is one thing. Technology is the key driver. We keep on improving that.
Chodingalondo, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Beena, you know me. Palat Mondas's wife. Nana, Panda, when he was Chief Secretary, Babu Jacob, he was in charge of some transportation, I don't know what it was. He was so excited. That I think he initiated that Koilon bypass. And excited at one that we are giving it to private construction workers, private parties, no road construction. Babu, that have you given even the maintenance in vendor? Are you giving a contract for 5 years maintenance, 10 years maintenance? He said no. And I was shocked. If you don't give such maintenance, they do their duty and go away. And then government has to take that rainy season which is full of gutters, and the government has to take care of it. How do you take care of that?
Extremely valid point. Would you like to respond?
Actually, what Madam has raised is, I think, the core of what is wrong with what goes wrong in Kerala. But in the national highways, they have actually taken cognizance of this fact. And very often you have this concept of, money is not paid upfront to the private party. The private party has to collect it by way of toll, and there's a certain annuity which is paid on a yearly basis. That is, if they are taking care of the roads, only that payment can be made. So a system that is inbuilt, whereby at the time of award of the road itself, the maintenance for a certain period is guaranteed. That has already come into the national highway projects. In the state government, we are yet to take Some has been done in the Trivandrum TRDP, Trivandrum Road City Development Project. Some roads have been taken in Trivandrum. If you might have noticed, near the museum side and all, some things are being maintained. But unless what she has correctly pointed out, it becomes the basic principle on which all road projects are awarded everywhere. I think otherwise every year we'll be spending lakhs and crores just to pay for maintenance. I think it's a very valid point, and sir, if that can come out as a recommendation or something, I'd really be grateful.
I think Ajit Ravi, you should note the recommendations that's coming in, which can be sent. That's a good idea. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the question. And talking about national highways, I travel very frequently from Ernakulam to Kasaragod. The 16 highways are coming up tremendously fast. I think if they come up, then I think the main arterial road from Parashala all the way up to Kasaragod, the Mangalore border, will be a dream run. So it's happening, perhaps not happening fast enough. Yes. മലയാളത്തിലും ചോദിക്കാൻ കേട്ടോ.
Good morning, everybody. എനിക്ക് ചോദിക്കാനുള്ളത് ഡോക്ടർ ബീനയോടുള്ളതാണ്. Can I go? ഇവിടെ ഇപ്പോൾ റോഡ് ട്രാൻസ്പോർട്ട്സിൻ്റെ കാര്യത്തിൽ വളരെ എക്സ്പെൻസീവാണ്. മെയിൻ്റനൻസ് ആണ് ഇവിടെ നന്നായി നടക്കാത്തത്. അതിലാണ് ഒരുപാട് പ്രശ്നങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉള്ളതുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ പ്രൈവറ്റൈസേഷൻ ഈസ് ഗുഡ്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ എന്തുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് എയർ ട്രാൻസ്പോർട്ടിനെ കുറിച്ച് ചിന്തിച്ചുകൂടാ? ഡിസ്ട്രിക്ട് വൈസ് കേരളത്തിനകത്ത് കറങ്ങി നടക്കാനായിട്ട് അങ്ങനെ ആവുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമുക്ക് കുറച്ചുകൂടി എക്സ്പെൻസീവാണ്. ഈവൻ ദെൻ എയർ ട്രാൻസ്പോർട്ടിനെ കുറിച്ച് ചിന്തിക്കേണ്ട അത്യാവശ്യ സമയം ആയിക്കഴിഞ്ഞിരിക്കണം ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ. സെക്കൻഡ് തിങ്, ഇവിടെ റോഡ് ആക്സിഡൻസിൽ ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ് ഐ എം വർക്കിംഗ് ആസ് എ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റിഗേറ്റർ ഫോർ യുണൈറ്റഡ് ഇന്ത്യ ഇൻഷുറൻസ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ റോഡ് ആക്സിഡൻസിൻ്റെ കാര്യത്തിൽ ഇവർക്ക് ഡ്രൈവേഴ്സിന് എല്ലാവർക്കും തന്നെ ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു മെഷേഴ്സും ഇല്ല. ആ ഡ്രൈവിംഗ് ക്ലാസ്സിൽ പോകുന്ന സമയത്ത് അവർ കൊടുക്കുന്ന ചെറിയ ചെറിയ ക്ലൂസ് വെച്ചിട്ട് ആൻസർ ചെയ്യുന്നു, അവർക്ക് ലൈസൻസ് കിട്ടുന്നു. ആക്ച്വലി അത് വന്ന് നമ്മുടെ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ്റെ ഒരു ഭാഗമായിട്ട് അത് നമ്മുടെ സിലബസിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് ആ ട്രാഫിക് റൂൾസിനെ നമുക്ക് ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കുറേയധികം ആക്സിഡൻസ് ഒക്കെ കുറയ്ക്കാൻ കഴിയും. അതുവഴി നമുക്ക് ഒരുപാട് ലോസും നമുക്ക് സേവ് ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയും. ഇപ്പോൾ ഇൻഷുറൻസ് കമ്പനീസിലൊക്കെ വളരെ വളരെ ഹ്യൂജ് ഹെവി ലോസാണ് അവർക്ക് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്.
താങ്ക് യു. ഐ തിങ്ക്
So with regard to the first point, that we should look at newer methodologies of travel rather than road. In fact, metro itself is an example like that. He mentioned air travel. Already I think the most important people of Kerala are using chopper services to commute in the state, and thanks to Suhas also, he has created some facilities. But to make it democratic, make it more appealing to the people, that I think will be the next stage. But before we go into that, there is also a concept of seaplane. Now, Kerala was one of the pioneers in the seaplane sector. But somehow, maybe due to fishermen's protest or something, we couldn't take it forward. But now, Gujarat has gone ahead and actually done it. So there is a seaplane service from Sabarmati to the Statue of Unity. And they are looking at seaplane services to come up in Lakshadweep, in Andamans, in the eastern side. So, as you have rightly said, we need to look at beyond roads. It might be in the form of air travel, it might be in the form of seaplanes, and also inland water. Now, inland water is one sector, in spite of Kerala's very long backwater network, inland waterways network, we have not been able to fully utilize. To some extent, the islands of Kochi, they are using it, but there is a very good possibility of linking the entire stretch. I'm sure Suhas is also doing something in that sector. So definitely the time is ripe for looking at other modes of transportation. And also, let me just add one more thing to it. We are looking at passenger transport. There is also cargo transport. Now, internationally, the model is that 30% only uses road, 60% goes by rail, and 10% by inland waterways. But in Kerala and even in India, the majority, that is only 30% comes through rail, 60% is going through road. So definitely there is a need to look at newer methodologies. Right point. With regard to traffic, sir, and the offences, I think, sir, and integrating it with our curriculum, I think, sir is the right person.
I just wanted to supplement because Suhas, so we had a small discussion on this. There is actually a proposal, as you said. This proposal actually came last year. The transport department, they are actually examining. CIAL will be the authority, actually, it's a nodal authority for actually having district to district helicopter services. So that is actually, and with two air ambulances, etc., which will be definitely coming, sir. But I have to supplement that. As far as accidents are concerned, there are actually problem is the roads, because here you will not get roads for a straight road for miles together. So the driving fatigue is more here because of the curves and all these things which are happening. So that is on, and our way of driving also is one of the reasons which is there. We lose 4,000 people every year on the road per year. 4,000 people. I mean, more than 10 persons every day. So which are actually, it's a small state. We are number 4 in terms of deaths. So it is up to you to actually how you should drive properly, and so that the accidents do not take place. As I said, the density of the vehicles are the highest, and the road length is lesser than compared to the vehicles. The carrying capacity is already over, so accidents will be natural.
Thank you very much, Mr. Behra. I think we'll move on now to Mr. Loknathbehra. He was the DGP of the state. He was Commissioner of Police at Ernakulam. He knows the city and the state like the palm of his hand. He is now the Managing Director of the Kochi Metro Limited, KMRL. My question then to you, or the issues I'll put before you, Dr. Behra, is about the city transport. Not only in Cochin, but in Trivandrum, Calicut, and other places, urban transportation. Why is the metro not so popular yet, as we envisaged when it started? How would it work in other cities, in Trivandrum and other places? Would extending it, say, from where it is now to Fort Cochin, Matanjeri, Ida Cochin, Palluruthi, I would say even up to Cherthala, would that work? It's not even gone up to the airport, so would that work? Is one question. Then connected with that, of course, about rail transport. We have the Vande Bharat Express coming up all over the country. We've not got one yet. What are your views on rail transportation, speeding it up? And of course, when you speak of Vande Bharat, we should also speak of the Silver Line, which was very controversial. If you would like to speak on that, we're not inviting controversy, but still, if you would like to, yes. How do you improve our tracks? And finally, the area that you have worked on for the last 35 years, tackling crime. Crime is going up. Crime, drugs is going up. As I indicated in my opening few words, the crimes against women, crimes against children, they're going unparalleled. You can't open a newspaper without reading about these things. And they're happening everywhere, in urban pockets, in villages, all across the state. That's a sad state of things. So we have an extremely good police force, but unfortunately, contradictory, the enigma is the crime rates are going up. How would you like to respond to this and other issues you may think?
Sir, can I go?
Oh, please, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Very distinguished persons on the dais and friends. mpjoseph sir actually made this entire beginning a very serious affair. I wanted to make it very light. One is that this particular, hall where we are sitting is empowered. You see the backdrop. It is showing protons kind of things moving around. It's very, very very tastefully empowered design. And second thing, Sherry's trousers, empowered trousers. Beautiful trousers, and he's empowered. And all of you like that. So I just wanted to say one thing. Why this topic? Because my co-panelists are from Kerala, they are Malayalis. I am a naturalized Malayali. I am not a Malayali, but I am a naturalized Malayali. But the question here is that Kerala is already empowered. So why to talk about empowerment? But I know why Joseph sir actually chose this subject, or Ravi has chosen that subject, because their benchmarkings are little high. So they want to go up. All of you want to go up. Well, so a disclaimer I wanted to tell you from the first. Today, please actually do the gap analysis and find out what are the gaps in various sectors like education, infrastructure, anything. And find out anything which can be done, not actually ideas are there but it cannot be implemented, we become unhappy. Those ideas are good, which when that can be implemented. Now question is that sir has asked me certain things. Yesterday actually was a very interesting day for me. In the morning, I on an invite from Binale, I went to Fort Kochi. It was the last day. And I saw beautiful paintings and a lot of good work. Then I was wondering that how empowered a society in terms of art and culture. I belong to a place called Puri, which is actually the citadel of art. But the kind of things which were disposed yesterday, I was amazed. Only an empowered society can actually appreciate and do this, not all the persons. Trust me. Second thing what happened is that in the morning, the World Bank team visited me. They also visited Dr. Beena some time back. And they said, you are in one of the best places in this country. My heart actually stopped beating for a second. They appreciated, they are all foreigners. Kind of things you people have done with your limitations is amazing. Third thing happened is in the evening, when I met the Honorable Chief Minister in the guest house, there was a paper lying in front of him. I just picked up that paper and it has been written there, 25 number ones in India. It starts with best in education, best in this, best in literacy, so not education, literacy. Number 2, like that, 25 bests in the country. So I was wondering, being a person from Odisha, I was thinking, what an empowered state it is. And what more we want? But question is that we have to go up. There are gaps, obviously, whether it is crime management or there is traffic or something. Kerala is a beautiful state. Being not from this place, my comment will be too candid on this. There are only 2 places in the world. I have traveled all across. One is Kerala, another is Scotland. That is actually created by the God. God probably took some leave, casual leave, and created it. In 20 kilometers width, you get the sea, you get the plain, and you get the hills. Nowhere it will be. Everything is picture postcard. The God is very kind to us. So Kerala is actually, then all kind of development from 1956 onwards, in terms of development, social, education, health and other things, I don't have to say because all of you know that how it has happened. Well, when something goes happening, something will also be there not happening. Whether it is Port Authority or what is Meridien Port. So there was something said, when Meridien Port comes, Cochin Port will be Putivakam. The people also wrote it in the papers also. I don't know why this kind of negative feelings comes to us. Now, telling this, there are certain things actually Dr. Nandakumar and Beena told. I wanted to just clarify the certain one or two things statistically. You know that we have a population of around 3.75 crores. We have vehicle registration 1.92 crores. That means if the registration goes on like this, after 10 years, our actually population and the vehicular population will be equal. Can you handle it? That is the question. You forget about carbon emission and other things. Even though whatever road is there, we are not able to actually manage that. As Beena correctly said, per square kilometer road length in India, Kerala is number one. Similarly, in Kerala is only next to US for distribution of vehicles per person. And that is the actually issue right now. Everybody wants to buy a car. So everywhere you will get SUVs, this, that, and one SUV is being driven by one person. And he will be going there, taking the road length. Long back when I was police commissioner here, I'll tell you a very hilarious example what happened with me. I was very young, somebody suggested me that why not we do a car pooling system. I said, it's good. So number of vehicles will be reduced. So I actually approached the Panambali Nagar people. At that time they were the best, high and mighty. So they agreed. So past 15 days, it went on. One person will bring the car, he will take his neighbors who are going to the office. After some time, my inspector traffic came, one fellow is late by 5 minutes. So after certain kind of things, we have to stop that scheme. So what is happening is that today, as I am taking a cue from mpjoseph sir's statement, literacy is good. Even illiteracy, digital literacy is good. We are all number one. Why our children are saying not to study here, we'll go out. We'll go to Bangalore, we'll go to Delhi to study. Why? We have fantastic institutions. Private, government, universities, all facilities are there. We have to take a call why it is so. Whether the faculty is not good, whether the curriculum is not good, whether there is dynamism has to be brought. This particular workshop can find out those things. As a recommendation to the government, it will be good. Now, what actually I'm coming to, the one very important point, which I always very dear to me, is the digital empowerment. Now that is the buzzword everywhere. Even Honorable Prime Minister has spoken, Honorable Chief Minister has spoken. Digital empowerment, when actually Akshaya Kendras were established long back, we were number one. But why we are not number one now? I'll give a small example. When the technology changed, which is changing very fast, we did not actually bring those kind of technologies to the Akshaya Center. Our hardwares were old. We did not replace it in time. So, the late starters like Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, Odisha and other places, they were late starters. So they put newer machines, newer programs. Well, that is actually, we have to necessarily say digital empowerment is the most important thing for all of us. And especially to the senior citizens who have said that longevity is here more. So therefore, how elders can use digital technology to live happily. That is the happiness is the most important thing in life. So how do you do that? Whether everything actually is at the fingertip, easy to use. So digital empowerment is the thing which you have to seriously think, and we have miles to go in that particular field. The other thing is that, I'll give you a small, again, my own experience. When I used to actually attend the meetings, when I was in Government of India or from the state government, when I attend a meeting in Delhi, if a particular new thing will be discussed by Home Secretary or Finance Secretary, then they will say, Loknath, he will not speak. Then I said, because Kerala, it is already done, we know. I said, so much so that what happened is that in the DG's conference, the Honorable Prime Minister said to empower the women, what we will do is that every police station in the country should have a women help desk, except Kerala, because it's already been done. We did it in 2006 when I was a IG headquarter, that time we did it. So people actually, other states did it in 2018. So there is a saying that what Kerala thinks today, others thinks tomorrow. It's a fact. I'm not saying this actually as a matter of actually saying that to please you, no. It's a fact. But to keep that particular tempo, to sustain it and to grow and to change, somewhere we are actually lacking. We have to change according to the requirement of the particular society. So, now about, sir asked me about the metro. What we actually start doing in terms of the metro when it came to Kochi, there is one line, that is Alua to Tripunatara. So Tripunatara is the last station which we are making. By September 30th, we should be open. So one phase is over. In the meantime, the other day, September 1st, the Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the work for the second line. The second line will be connecting Info Park to the Kallur. That will be actually basically for those people who are working in the Info Park and obviously on the way. That is, we have already started the work and we want to complete it in a record time in 24 months. Third line, which is very crucial, I think today, is the line to the airport. That is the third phase, actually, which is actually ambitiously, it is saying that it will go from Alwa to Angamali, then come to actually Nedumbassery like a loop and join back. Or it can be a fork kind of thing. You can go, one train can go to Nedumbassery, other train can go to Angamali. But that will be around 7,000 crores project. Well, finance is definitely an issue, but today the bilateral and multilateral agencies, mpjoseph sir knows because he works with all these kind of people, that they are ready to finance. Finance is not an issue. It is our will and it is your desire. In a democracy, you are most important people. If it is there, it will be probably there. But then, ambitiously, we have also done two other studies. One study says that we have to connect MG Road to the High Court. From the High Court, it should go parallelly to in the Marine Drive up to Tebra and come back. That is one of the lines. And one more line, it's a small line, between Tripunatara to connecting to Info Park. So that a person who wants to go to Info City from Tripunatara has not to come to Kallur to take that particular train, but he can easily 6 kilometers he can go. That's a very not a very costly project. It is 6 kilometers. It will be around 1,000 crores. You can always make that good. Well, that is, if that is being done, metro will be popular. Because today, our biggest problem is that when metro was planned, that time, they should have thought that the alignment of this particular present day line is such, it is not covering any residential areas. It is all business districts. So those people who are staying in residential areas, how they come to the station, that we call first mile, last mile connectivity, so that we have actually an ambitious plan which we want to actually introduce this year, 30 buses as feeder buses, 200 electric auto rickshaws, all these things we are trying, and we have been mandated by central government saying that it will be intermodal integration of public transport system. Kochi is going to do the pilot for the whole country. So we have now, if now water metro is actually going to be inaugurated anytime, you can buy one ticket from any metro station, you can also travel in water metro. That integration digitally you have done. But that particular ticket, whether that can actually allow you to travel in an auto rickshaw or in a bus, that we are doing a POC, proof of concept, and it has been successful. So we want to actually introduce it in a month's time to actually the buses as well as to the auto rickshaws. Taxis we have not taken into for our consideration right now because it's a little complicated. So we will be also discussing with them. Once first mile and last mile connectivity is there, the thing is that it will be definitely popular because most of the travelers, commuters who travel in metro, they like it because it is the cleanest metro. Trust me, it is the cleanest metro in the whole country. It is not because of that we maintain it well, it is because of you. You keep it that, because I have seen one small child when he unwrapped a chocolate thing and threw that particular on the floor. Immediately somebody took a photograph and sent it to me by WhatsApp, saying that it is better. So I had to give a signal to that the next station it has to be cleaned. That is, but most of the time I have seen the co-passenger tells you, "Cheta ivide vellam kudikenda." So it will fall on the dew. So it is the cleanest metro, and it is very comfortable. I also travel many a times these days in metro. So, but in spite of that, these are the things which are I'm hampering the popularity, sir. We'll be actually doing that. There is also some quarters they say that actually the prices are little higher, and that we have already told now NatPac to actually rationalize this and give us a recommendation. In case that comes down, it's fine. I have nothing to do if they say that it actually experts say that it has to be reduced that way. Then your sir actually asked about the crime. I have to tell you one thing. This will actually statistically it will clarify most of the things. It is the only state in the whole country where there is free registration of cases. I'll give in the year 2020, just 1 year before I retired, the statistics is that Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, which you consider to be the most crime prone actually states, the FIRs put together is lesser than the FIRs we register. We register almost 7 lakh FIRs in a year. So no barking of FIR. You go to the police station, they will register a case. And the funniest thing is that if we register 7 lakh FIRs, we in a year dispose 6.5 lakh. That is another unique thing. And our conviction percentage is more than 90%, which is higher than in CBI, my former organization, where I worked for 11 years. So, therefore, when India today, in the year 2021, rated us as the best police force, it is because of this. Because you register cases, dispose the cases, you don't bark, people get their actually rights. You go to many of the states, no malice towards any particular state. It is they don't register the case so easily. You have to have recommendations and all kind of things, but here it is not required. Well, the concern is that should not make us very complacent. As sir says, very important thing he said. He made a very passing. Why the cases of abuse of children are increasing in our state? Are we becoming that forward? We have such a glorious tradition. And it is a fact, the POXO cases is on the rise. And it is the responsibility of not the police alone. It is the responsibility of the society. And Onbina actually knows that particular thing when she was in the government, state government. There was a survey here. And most of the places where the father is addicted to drinks or consumes drugs, or there's a broken family, these kind of aberrations take place. So that is how, so I am saying that let us actually benchmarking what Joseph sir has said is a little higher. So analyze that and go higher so that we remain only at the top. We are on the top and we will remain on the top. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Behra, for giving us an outsider's perspective of what the state is all about and being very candid about it. You covered a lot of ground and you covered the ground that I had put across to you. Yes, Kerala is the best, but the best is not enough for Kerala, and that is why we have this. Dr. Suhas is with us. He was also the district collector of Ernakulam some time ago. He is now the chairperson, the managing director of the Nedubasheri Airport, the Cochin International Airport. I think Dr. Suhas has joined us at absolutely the right time. In fact, his question about air transportation should have been put to Dr. Suhas. I'll put it to you. There are 4 areas I'd like you to touch upon, Dr. Suhas. One is air connectivity. We've discussed it a bit already, but I'm sure you'll be able to add much more to it than what we have discussed. Not only connectivity within the state, which is very important, but why is that we have to go to Dubai for catching an Emirates flight to go to, let's say, London or New York or wherever, or Etihad to go to Abu Dhabi or to Doha to catch a Qatar Airways flight somewhere else in the world? Why are we not able to have point-to-point flights? Number one, interstate flights is very important. And also, you're the youngest here, so I'd like you to also talk about, things like what is wrong with our education. We spoke about it before you came. Kerala is a very literate state, but everybody is leaving the state. The youngsters are leaving the state for a better education and, as I said, third-rate universities in UK. Why is that happening? Would you also like to touch upon tourism? Tourism is something we didn't touch upon so far. We have this triangle. We have Munnar, we have Cochin, we have Thekadi, we have Alleppey. Alleppey, Thekadi, Cochin, that's the tourist triangle. Can we not go beyond that? Our boat houses, shouldn't their designs be improved? Many issues. Village tourism, medical tourism. Would you like to touch upon that? And finally, since you were collector of Ernakulam, I think all the 3 of us were collectors of Ernakulam. Yes, and the commissioner, right. So would you like to speak upon the waste management of the city? That's in a bad mess now. So these are 4 areas I'd like you to touch upon.
Thank you so much, sir.
And anything else you would like to add to it?
Yeah, sure. A very good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I would like to apologize for being late. We had a meeting between Government of Kerala and Railways, and Honorable Speaker was also taking part. So I was not in control of that meeting. It took some time. And our seniors are here, so I really apologize to all of you, firstly. And with respect to air transport, which was being talked here, and Ma'am has already made a point, this is being successfully implemented in Bangalore, what we call heli tourism. In fact, with about $6,000, you can travel from any part of Bangalore to airport. That is actually working in Bangalore. So mainly, this can be made possible in Cochin as well, but we have to look at economies of scale. And the number of people traveling through choppers is quite less here. That particular culture has not yet been used in a large scale. But this is the future. And in fact, when we inaugurated our business jet terminal in December, many people were quite skeptical about it, whether it would work. But now, within 45 days, we had 100 charter flights. And daily, we are having 1 or 2 charters. And it is I think one of the best money spinners for the airport in the recent times. It's been highly successful. Similarly, we are exploring the possibilities of heli tourism as well. And as pointed out by Sir, it is being discussed at highest levels, and most probably we'll be talking about it, and good news would follow soon. And with respect to other forms of transport, I think one which is not talked about much, but which was rightly pointed out by ma'am, is about inland travel. In fact, government is pursuing a very ambitious plan of connecting vehicle to Hakulam in Trivandrum. And you will be surprised by end of December, we will be connecting Hakulam to Chetua in Guruvayur, and there'll be a inauguration. In fact, what is being planned is something which has not been thought about before. We'll have economic development opportunities all the way across these canals. You'll have tourism based projects. You'll have PPP projects being implemented. As the first project in Chilakot tunnels, we are having a tourism based themed project which is coming up. We'll have augmented reality within the tunnels. You'll be traveling in electric boats within the tunnels and looking at various projections being made. So a lot of things are being done. Similarly, our focus is not only on tourism, it's based on cargo and economy as well. And a project on a long-term basis has been thought about by the government, and it will be implemented soon. And this will be revolutionary, this particular canal project, which connects vehicle to Akulam. This will be a revolutionary project, and it will include rehabilitation of so many people who have no title deeds, who are living on the banks of these canals. The process has already started. We are doing it quietly. Already about 150 families has been rehabilitated in district of Trivandrum. So eventually you will have different projects coming there, tourism, then industry-based, cargo, and it will make a lot of change. And sir, with respect to airport, we are exploring newer opportunities. In fact, after the success of business jet terminal, in another 6-7 months or so, we'll be inaugurating something known as transit terminal. This will be for common man. When we talk about business jet terminal being used for high net worth individuals, we are also making similar high-end facilities being made available for common passengers as well, with similar content, and it will be one of its kind. It will be the first. This is also an experiment, since business jet terminal worked out really fine. It's the biggest one in India, and it's highly successful. Similarly, we are hoping this will be a good model as well. And we are also looking at cargo terminal being implemented. It will be inaugurated in September. High-end, state-of-art, which will help both the farmers as well as businessmen. We all know there are a lot of restrictions with respect to non-scheduled freighter aircrafts being made available to our airport. So we are trying to make maximum use of existing facilities by increasing the efficiency, by making use of artificial intelligence and other things. So all these revolutionary projects are coming in the airport, and these are all on their final stages. In another 6-7 months or so, a lot of such projects. And are, in fact, soon, I think good news will be shared with respect to 5-star hotel which is being built in front of the airport. A very good leading chain has taken over, and formal announcement will be made soon. So many other things, sir. And we are also trying to facilitate tourism by helping government of Kerala, Department of Tourism, by giving space to caravan park. Caravan tourism is something which government of Kerala is in fact focusing upon. So we are giving facilities to them, which will be connected to Munnar and other places as well.
Any views on the young leaving the state for educating themselves abroad? The youngsters are leaving to universities in UK, US, Canada. Any views on that?
Sir, I believe if you look at the whole thing, if you look at Bangalore, I think the reverse trend is also happening. In fact, I know a lot of people from education field in Bangalore, at least people who are in decision making and also who own few universities there. There are a lot of people coming from other countries as well to study in Bangalore. Very shocking, but it's happening in a large scale. So similarly, I believe if sufficient facilities and opportunities are being given in our place as well, I think this will become a trend here as well.
Thank you very much, Suhas. I think I'll move on to sherryoommen before I come to questions for Suhas and all the others. You are a chartered accountant, you're an advocate, you are a young person leader. I would like to put the same question I put to Dr. Nandakumar about developing entrepreneurship in the state. Why is that not happening? I will also, because you are from the younger generation, what is your views on how to popularize fintech, for example? I should have asked Dr. Nandakumar that AI, and now the latest is the chat GBT. How do you try and get that in place in the state as a part of empowering? A very good suggestion came up, I think it was from Mr. Loknathbehra, that it's old people who should be taught digital literacy because then they can be on their own. What are your views on that? And finally, this question: how do we improve? Since you're a chartered accountant, you see, it's all about the bula, it's all about money, it's all about economy. How do we improve the financial situation of the state? And I mean, it's a tall order. And if you have the time, also on waste management. They are removing waste in London, in New York, and every other city in the world. Why can't we move it here? All yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sir has reserved the toughest question for me, and I think I will try my level best to answer the question in the way that I perceive the situation to be. Now, before I respond to the question that Sir has posed, I deem it a matter of honor that I'm in the midst of such an esteemed panel. I perhaps consider myself as the odd man out, but nonetheless, it's good to have someone from the general audience to sort of spell out their views. I wish to respond to the question in two parts. Now, if one looks at Kerala, and I'm talking from the angle of someone who's young, it is said that India is a young nation, but Kerala is old. And that is indeed true. If one perhaps steps out on the road, let's say one goes towards Kalur Junction, the number of billboards in Kalur Junction, let's say Kalur Junction or for that matter Nedapalli, which talk about sending students outside of Kerala, let's say to other states, let's say to Karnataka or for that matter, globally, is perhaps astonishing. And that's why I believe that the wanted so-called model, the Kerala model, has become antiquated. And it's time that we relook at the way Kerala is functioning. For the fact that I'm a chartered accountant, let me throw a few statistics to you. From October 2019 to March 22, and this is relevant to the question that Sir has asked me. For the period October 2019 to March 22, please note these figures. India received FDI investments to the tune of 142 billion. Do you know what was Kerala's contribution to that? India received 142 billion. The amount that Kerala received was a meager 0.6 billion. So if one puts in terms of percentage terms, it's 0.42% of the total FDI that India received came to Kerala, which is an absolute shame. Number two, I mean, I don't mean to demean any political party. I don't hold any political post with any organization. But these are pure statistics. as far as Kerala is concerned, Kerala imports, rather during the financial year 22, Kerala imported close to 1.5 lakh crores in terms of goods and services from other states. Kerala exported 55 lakh crores to other states. So I import 1.5 lakh crores, and 55,000 crores is what I've exported, which lands up with a deficit of 1 lakh crore. Now please note, in terms of the export from Kerala, which is that 55,000 crores, that would obviously include, for example, the sale of petrol by Cochin refineries, because that is also something which is being sent outside the state. If I were to reduce that, it would ultimately emerge that the trade deficit of Kerala is perhaps in a rather abysmal situation. Sir asked a question with respect to the finances in the state. There has been a ₹2 increase in the price of petrol. And it was quite interesting that the day prior to the increase of petrol, most of the petrol bunks were jammed for the fact that everyone decided to save on that ₹2. Now, the ₹2 increase in petrol would generate the state 750 crores of additional taxes. That's all that is expected. But what is missed purely from the angle of economics is that there is going to be a drop in purchasing power of the people. Studies have estimated that with every ₹1 increase in the price of petrol, the purchasing power of a citizen, or rather not only use the word citizen, of a state drops by close to 1,500 crores. Now, if one looks at these statistics and one puts them in perspective, what is the change that one is looking at? Clearly, for that matter, manufacturing isn't going to sell in the state of Kerala because we are short of space. We can't look at Tamil Nadu because we don't have the space of Tamil Nadu. We can't look at Gujarat for that matter. We look at services, and Sir in his introductory comment mentioned about services. Now, when one looks at services as perhaps the area of emphasis, I perhaps look at an alternative jurisdiction. And the alternative jurisdiction that I wish to look into is Singapore. Singapore is a place perhaps slightly larger than Ernakulam, perhaps even smaller. But look at the way a country like Singapore, which is perhaps as big as Ernakulam, I'll just give that weightage, perhaps functions far better than most Indian states. And the reason is simple. Singapore has understood that manufacturing is not its domain. I think in Kerala, it's time we understand that manufacturing will not sell. We don't have the space. Number two, even assuming that we have the space, the political will of this state is largely anti-manufacturing. So that's a given. Unless, of course, there is a radical change in thinking. Now, if I were to look at services, and that's what I take from what Nandakumar sir just mentioned, I would tend to believe that financial services is a key area where the government, or for that matter, we should specialize on. And if you look at Singapore for that matter, Singapore specializes on financial services. Interestingly, in the state of Gujarat, there is a city called Gift City, G-I-F-T City. Gift City is a notified place where, if assuming you set up a business in the Gift City, you're eligible for a tax exemption of 100% for 10 years. Now, in Kerala, for example, the question that Sir asked me, one of the ways of ensuring that fintech companies come to the state of Kerala is perhaps looking at a model like the Gift City in Gujarat. The Gift City in Gujarat is modeled on a concept called as the International Financial Services Center. The other question that Sir in fact asked me was with respect to waste management. I think somewhere down the line in our culture, while in fact Nandakumar sir actually mentioned this in his start, I think there's a problem with the Malayali once he leaves the state of Kerala. Rather, there's a problem with the Malayali when he's in the state of Kerala. The moment he exits Valayar checkpost, his nature changes. For example, if one goes to Dubai, you will never find a Malayali throwing garbage, perhaps even in the airport. And I'm saying this being a Malayali myself. But I believe there's some, on a lighter note, in fact, I was discussing this with a businessman. He said there's perhaps something wrong with the coconuts in Kerala, or the coconut oil that we are using in Kerala, by virtue of which, when we are in the state of Kerala, we just forget simple aspects with respect to disposal of waste. So, sir, I think to answer your question on waste disposal, I think it's largely something which is very specific to the individual. I wouldn't, for example, take it on the government fully to say that they are responsible for it. I think as citizens of Ernakulam, I think it's also our responsibility to ensure that our place is clean. I think with that, I think I've addressed your.
Thank you very much, Sherry. You've put the whole thing in perspective. You've been able to sort of put everything in a context. Thank you so much for that. A couple of personal points. I think when it comes to manufacturing, you don't really require land for it. Just as education can go up vertically, you can build universities in multi-storied buildings. Manufacturing can also go vertical. So the land should not be a problem. There are other issues that you pointed out. But thank you very much for bringing many of these points together and bringing them all together. I would also not blame coconut oil for the attitudes we have. I think it's to do with punishment. When we are scared that we'll be punished, it'll happen. Now the traffic offences invite 1,500 rupees as the fines. We are very careful about it. So when you come to Kerala, you think you can get away with, if not murder, but something quite like it. So that could also be the reason. Thank you so much, both Dr. Suhas and Sherry, for your perspectives. I'll throw the questions and the discussions and the ideas open. I'm sure you will have a lot to ask. So I'm opening it for every one of you.
Okay.
Come on, you.
I'll be quick about it. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Harsha. I am a finalist for Miss Queen Kerala 2023, the pageant that's happening tonight. So I was just listening to everyone, give out their visionaries and vision and everything about Kerala. So the one thing that came up in my mind was the idea of part-time jobs, or the part-time culture is not yet cemented in the minds of Malayalis, or at least in Kerala. And that is a major concern. It's more than a question, it's a concern that I'm raising. Because as a youngster, unemployment is a major issue. It's not just in Kerala, everywhere almost. And I think if the part-time culture is more popular, then this could be solved. I mean, that's what I think. And also the idea that we have a high literacy rate, and that has become a curse apparently, because the more literate we are, we start to feel like some jobs are having less dignity than others. So that's probably why we're not really into part-time jobs, and some people are even overqualified for a part-time job. So I don't know how the part-time culture is going to come in, but that's a concern.
Thank you very much. I didn't get your name.
Harsha.
Harsha, thank you so much. You're from Kerala.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Gig work. That's what she's saying. And platform work. Would anybody like to answer it? Who would like to respond to?
So Harsha, since I run a very small business, it's perhaps akin to the FDI contribution that comes into India when comparison with Nandakumar sir who's sitting next to me. I think you raised a very valid point. Unemployment is at its peak in Kerala right now. People say it's roughly around 39% of the population ranging between 15 to 29 are unemployed. That is indeed correct. Now, with respect to part-time jobs, for example, I will talk for my establishment. We would love it when students come to our office to work. In fact, I have, for example, I know a number of players in the industry who are very keen that students come and work. And I'm sure even at the level of FICCI and CII, initiatives are being taken with respect to ensuring that youngsters like you and I get opportunities to work and establish. So I don't think there's dearth. I don't think there is dearth of that. If you have seen something, I think Nandakumar sir would perhaps be the right thing. But to the best of my knowledge, there are adequate opportunities. In fact, in my establishment, we encourage, for example, I take a lot of lawyers and young finance professionals. We have at this moment around eight interns who are working with us. So I really don't see that to be an issue. But nonetheless, I still endorse your fact that unemployment is on a rise.
Thank you very much. Anybody, would you like to add to it, Suhas?
Sir, I will tell. Please. Actually, I'll tell you one thing. What I understood from your question is that paid internship so we are actually encouraging in KMRL. A lot of children come. Now we have actually taken for the first time. Earlier it used to be only engineers. Now even the law students have come from Calicut. I mean, they wanted to do it. Now we give some money also to them. And that is one way of encouraging they get some experience. Apart from that, actually, as we do that, Suhas might be also doing apprenticeship program. 9,000 rupees is paid by us, 9,000 rupees is paid by central government. That is also being done.
Would you like to add?
Adding to Sir, 2-3 things. One aspect is that I believe Kerala is also a land of abundance. Percentage of people who are willing to do part-time work proportionate wise compared to other state is quite low if you look at that way. And recently we had job interviews, and one surprising thing, sir, very highly qualified people who have studied in high AMs, etc. They were actually not working in a very high paying job, and they were looking at opportunities. So that thing also exists. And when you look at other states, you find large proportion of Malayalis working there as well in different category of jobs. So it's a slightly complicated thing, but I believe this opportunity should be given and people should be made aware about part. In fact, we have an organization known as Quail Kerala Waterways Infrastructure Limited, where about 90% of our staff are apprentices. We have made an entire organization work through apprenticeship program. We take people from ASAP, sir, and give them opportunities.
Thank you very much, Suhas.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vasha Venu. I am one of the finalists of Miss Queen Kerala 2023. Actually, there are two concerns in my mind. One is regarding we are depending too much on other states for food needs, and it's also poisonous. And so everyone needs blue collar jobs. So what can we do to improve the farming, and how can we motivate youngsters to do farming? And is there any measures? I have also seen I'm from Trivandrum, through Trivandrum Corporation giving grow bags and everything through Kudumbasri, I think. Apart from that, is there any other policies or measures government is taking regarding that?
Thank you very much. I think that's a very important area that we missed out, agriculture. Agriculture, especially high-tech agriculture. Why are we not focusing on that as part of our empowerment? Who would like to? An agriculturalist?
You have very correctly pointed out the need for bringing agriculture into the mainstream. Unfortunately, when you think of agriculture, you think only of paddy fields. And paddy fields, as we are all aware, paddy farming is not, in spite of the laws, the KLU, and a lot of legislative efforts, paddy is almost a thing of the past, and even whatever cultivation we are having, it is coming down over the years. But you have rightly observed, in terms of vegetables, there has been a lot of change, especially I will say in the past 5-10 years. The terrace cultivation, small area cultivation. So basically, when it comes to consuming for your family, this system works out. But to really look at farming and agriculture at a large scale, I think our major limitation, as has been said in business, is the land. So as long as the parcel size is too small and too fragmented, we cannot have big time agriculture. And that is why, as of now, only less than 8% of Kerala's population is depending on agriculture as a source of livelihood. So we have to think differently. We have to look at modern methods of cultivation. In fact, recently a team from Kerala had gone all the way to Israel to find out how, with limited land area and precise irrigation techniques, how you can improve the productivity. So we need to bring in technology in a large, in a big way to change the situation. And what we can do at our homes we can produce some vegetables that will partly solve the waste issue also. So whatever waste is generated, you can use as manure for your own thing. So it's a small way of thinking, but for bigger changes, we need entire policy and mindset changes.
Thank you, Dr. Beena. Whose question?
Yeah, I have a suggestion too in that matter.
Yeah, very quickly.
നമ്മളൊരു സൊസൈറ്റിയിൽ ഒരു 4-5 വീട്ടിലുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ ഒരു സർട്ടൺ ലാൻഡ് കുറച്ച് സ്പേസിൽ വെജിറ്റബിൾസ് കൾട്ടിവേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുവാണെങ്കിൽ for those homes we can use those vegetables which are not poisonous, organic farming. And ഒരു 1 വീക്കിൽ ഒരു ഫാമിലിയിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരാൾ അത് കൂടുതൽ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കാനായിട്ടൊക്കെ ഒരു മെഷർ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ആ ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിയിലെ കുറച്ച് പേർക്ക് പോയിസണസ് അല്ലാത്ത ഓർഗാനിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള വെജിറ്റബിൾസ് കിട്ടാനുള്ള ഒരു വഴിയുണ്ടെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
One thing what we have done is, in fact, in our office, all of us have come together and we are growing vegetables in our office space. In fact, and all of them are organic. You must have observed solar panels in the airport, right? So we grow something known as photovoltaic agriculture. In between the solar panels, we grow vegetables. So it has many benefits. One, it prevents soil erosion. It prevents dust settling on the panels, and also prevents the growing of weeds. So, and also it ensures that most of our employees get poison-free organic vegetables. So such kind can be thought about.
Thank you so much. That's news to, I think, many of us. Agriculture is something that we missed out. The next question, please. Yeah.
Hi everyone. My name is Dr. Adarsh, and my question and concern is: are there ways to promote entrepreneurships in educational institutions so that once the youth comes out of the college, they have a wider picture of how to run a business and how to go about the same?
Very good, Doctor. Would Dr. Nandakumar Sherry, entrepreneurship within institutions?
This is what I have mentioned. In IIM Kozhikode, we have started incubating these startups. Similarly, recently, last week, a suggestion has come forward from Christ College in Jalakkuda, where they wanted to incubate. These will be different areas. One can be in technology, the other can be, say, food technology, or many other areas. Each of them wanted to take up separate one department basis, etc. So many encouraging signals we are getting now. Through CSR, they are asking for some funding, and CSR guidelines allows that. So with that CSR funding also, I think more and more this incubation of these startups are going to come in the educational institutions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nandakumar. Last two.
Hello everybody, my name is Livia. So mine is just a simple question. See, there are so many growth and opportunities right now. In Kerala is getting developed. But yet why many of us are not getting the job? That's the main reason I believe that we move out of Kerala or out of India, for better future. So how can we deal that?
Jobs, employment. Why are we not having sufficient jobs? Who would like to answer? Sherry?
If I've understood your question is why are people leaving Kerala?
No, sir. The main reason why people leave Kerala is because of the job opportunities.
Correct.
Because they are not getting earned well here, and maybe even the respect what they are supposed to get for the job, they are not getting. So henceforth they leave. So why is that happening here, and how can we deal that?
So I think there's a question that came from this side as well. See, unemployment is a problem that is endemic to India. I mean, it's endemic to India, it's endemic to Kerala. It's perhaps worse in Kerala. I think the entire purpose of this conversation here is how to boost things in Kerala. I would tend to believe that if the government, I mean, I'm sure this will perhaps reach the right ears as well. I'm sure in the coming days, there would be far greater buoyancy in the state of Kerala. The situation is not great, but it's not as bad as it sounds. Let's also bear in mind that we are just getting out of COVID, and COVID has had an impact across industries. But I'm sure when I talk to industries across the country, I would tend to believe perhaps in the next 2 years, things should perhaps even out to a large extent. So that would be my conclusion. And I'm sure in the state of Kerala as well, there will be a change. I'm quite optimistic. I mean,
Thank you, Sherry. That's very positive. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to the
It
panelists
was
patiently.
an
Thank
actual pleasure listening to all of you, and I guess even if we prolong the session for another 2 to 3 hours, still the questions would come popping up. Thanks so much for all your participation, and I'm so overwhelmed about the fact that our young generation are thinking about farming and what not about the employment. We are concluding the event. I would love to express my sincere gratitude to all those who contributed in its success. Additionally, I extend my thanks to each and every individual who has graced us with their presence on this auspicious occasion. Thank you so much, everyone.